Divers Log 2184. The liberation of Cyberstan has failed. 10 days of relentless fighting against the automatons has ended in retreat. Super Earth Command has classified the operation as a strategic repositioning of assets, which is a very inspiring way of saying we ran for our lives. My name is Chief Latte, Space Chief Prime if you care about titles. Most people don't. Titles don't stop bullets, and they definitely don't stop bots. This all started when the automatons stole the blueprints to the Star of Peace, our most advanced instrument of liberty. Naturally, we responded with overwhelming force, because nothing says peace like orbital bombardment. They told us it would be quick. They always do. My squad dropped with me. Burbo was on my right, the loudest man I've ever met. Explosions weren't just a tactic for him. They were a personality trait. He once laughed for a full minute after vaporizing a supply crate that we actually needed. To my left was Draco, our medic, and also our superior officer. He's a firm believer in preserving life, so long as that life isn't made out of metal. Let's just say that the Hippocratic Oath doesn't apply to bots. Then there was Joker. Fresh out of training, still believed the recruitment ads. We called him Rabbit because of his luck. 30 minutes with our squad and still alive. Statistically, that's pretty impressive. Then there was me, Stealth Specialist, Recon. The guy who goes ahead so everyone else knows what not to walk into. I liked fighting automatons. They were predictable, logical, clean. That was before Cyberstan. The transmissions started before we even made landfall. Most of it was standard bot chatter, coordinates, targeting data, the usual enthusiasm for our destruction. But underneath it, something else. Something older. I'd spent 3 years learning their language, enough to know when something didn't belong. They weren't just following orders, they were being led. Command told us not to worry, said it was just leftover code, glitches, echoes. Super Earth has a lot of confidence in the word just. Cyberstan was ice and metal, the kind of cold that seeps through your armor and settles into your bones like it pays rent. The sky was gray, and the ground was worse. We weren't the only squad deployed. Hundreds of us dropped in, thousands maybe. It didn't matter. The planet didn't feel occupied. And there upon that icy planet, occupied by tons of factories and thousands of robots that needed bullets in their heads. Nevertheless, it felt prepared. 2 days in, I was scouting ahead. A standard procedure. Stay unseen, mark targets, pretend I'm not about to ruin someone's day from a long distance. I found a patrol, a small group. Nothing truly unusual. I repositioned for a better angle. That's when the ledge gave out. 1 second I was above them, the next second I was in it. I hit hard. Hard enough to remind me that I was still very mortal. But freedom never sleeps. By the time I got my bearings, they had already turned. Not just the bots, but something else. It stood behind them. Taller, broader, wrong. Flesh, if you could call it that, stretched over a frame that didn't belong to anything alive. Tubes ran through it like veins that had forgotten their purpose. Metal fused into bone. Bone fused into something worse. And those eyes, those bright red eyes, focused on me. I fired first. Training says you always fire first. It doesn't say what to do when it doesn't matter. It moved too fast, not like a machine, not like anything that should exist. I emptied a full magazine before I realized I was pulling the trigger, then another, and then another. At some point I stopped aiming and just kept shooting, because if I stopped, it might start moving again. I don't know how long it took. I do know I burned through 2 resupplies. When it finally stopped, it didn't feel like a machine. It collapsed, like something that had been alive once, and it disagreed with the idea of staying dead. I still remember it spoke I still remember it. It spoke just one line, distorted, broken, like it had to remember how. "You call this freedom?" I reported the encounter. Command acknowledged it. Then they reassured me that there was no cause for concern. They're very good at that. The next 8 days blurred together. Factories, patrols, endless waves of things that didn't stop coming because they didn't need to breathe, or sleep, or think twice about dying. We lost people. A lot of people. On day 10, the order came down. Retreat. Not defeat, not failure. Strategic repositioning, as they called it. We left Cyberstan the same way we arrived. Fast and loud. And with fewer people than we started with. Super Earth says we'll be back. They say the cyborgs are remnants, mistakes, problems waiting to be solved. I still see those eyes, still hear that voice, and for the first time in my career, I'm not entirely sure who we're trying to convince, them or ourselves. But there is one thing that I can assure you. We will be back. And the cyborgs are gonna regret they ever came out of hiding.